Hey, how's it going? It's been a while, but I have something exciting for you today. Today I'll be doing my 3-year anniversary video for estrogen. It was actually a couple months ago on May 27th, but I wanted to make the video anyway. I'll be talking about social changes in the last 3 years, mental health changes, and of course physical changes. So stick around to see all of that. So part 1, let's talk social changes. I think the biggest thing is passing in public. That's definitely made a huge difference. I notice that people don't really clock that I'm trans, maybe unless they look at me really close or I talk about being gay or something, then they'll notice. But as more and more time goes on, strangers at work or wherever will just assume I'm a cis woman. I had some funny moments that kind of cemented this for me. And it came to conversation with my hairdresser. We were talking about dating and stuff and birth control, and she said that birth control had changed her hair and that she got off of it. And I said, wow, hormones that can change your life. That's crazy. I wonder what that's like. And she asked me what birth control I was on. And I said, oh, I'm trans. I was making a joke. So anyway, it was a little awkward, but it was funny. I just had more and more people just assume I'm cis. I love being trans, obviously. I'm very proud of it. I'm very open with it. But out in public life, where I don't have an audience that appreciates a queer person, when I'm not necessarily with friends who are also trans and queer, it feels safe and nice to be able to pass. Sometimes, though, it's not always there. If I'm dressed up nice, if I'm wearing more revealing clothes, more girly clothes, the clothes I like to wear, to be honest, I pass better. Sometimes if I'm like, hair's messy and stuff, and I forgot to shave and I'm wearing baggy clothes, I'll still get misgendered, but I'll correct people, and generally I've had a pretty good feedback where people are like, oh, my bad. I think sometimes people think I might be a girl, but to men especially, it's more rude to think someone's a girl than pretty much anything else. So they're like, oh, what if they're not a girl? I don't want to insult them because, of course, in that context, being a woman is insulting. So people kind of default to masculine, but as soon as I correct them, I'm like, oh shit, I made a mistake. Anyway, so passing has been a big deal, and it's little things like cars slowing down to stop for me, which has happened for a while, but now it's just takes less effort. I feel like I'll pass even without makeup and stuff, and that's really nice. I realize I have privilege in that. Not every trans woman has this privilege, and I know I have privilege with my voice and height and size and how I look. So yeah, that has come more and more as time goes on with hormones and my face changes, my body changes. Being a woman and being perceived as cis also comes with, I guess, what I'd call new challenges, like getting hit on in public and then being uncomfortable. This guy asked me for my Instagram. I wasn't interested in him, but even if it was as a friendly thing, my Instagram very proudly says trans, and I don't want to out myself to some random guy at a bar that's not far from my house. So kind of have to watch out for that, whereas maybe if I was more visibly gender non-conforming, maybe that guy wouldn't have asked for it. I mean, maybe he would have, who knows? But it's just stuff you gotta be aware of. I'm more aware of my drink, my friends' drinks. I just gotta kind of be aware of the space I'm taking up in the world. They see me as a woman, so I just have to kind of have that, if I'm too nice to some guy, he's gonna think I'm hitting on him, even though I'm not. I'm just friendly and outgoing. So I gotta kind of be aware of that. And that's definitely changed my behavior. Like if a man talks to me, especially at night, and I'm like trying to get home or something, I ignore him. Honestly, I ignore men most of the time because when I do talk to them, they seem to think I want to have sex with them, and that's not true. So, stuff to be aware. Obviously, not every man in my life is like this, and not every man in the world is like this, but when you're on the street and some guy's approaching you, that's the kind of man that's like that. Number 2, emotional changes. I think the biggest one was taking progesterone for the first time. And I was going through a really emotional time. That was about close to 2 years ago now. And that kind of unlocked tears and crying. I've talked about it in other videos. So yeah, I'd say emotions, which isn't super different than before, but instead of being something I really intellectualized, sometimes they're just there. And sometimes I can know where they're from. Like lately I've been sad because I'm not making videos or stressed out about other things in life. So it's more like they're there and there's less of an intellectualization of them. And also I notice a lot more like if I forget my shot or if I take progesterone, there'll be a little bit more testosterone in my system, and then I'll feel angry for no reason and sad for no reason. I think that's one of the ways that being trans is like happening on an emotional and cellular biological level, because like for men who take testosterone naturally through their system, or trans men who inject it, testosterone doesn't make them feel sad and angry all the time, because then they're probably trans women. So I don't know. Obviously, that's not a way to diagnose gender dysphoria, but I think it's a part of it. And I think more so now than when I first started. I'm like, I'll be having a bad day, or I'll be upset about something, and I'll be like, oh, I forgot to take my shot. Oh, I forgot to take progesterone last night. And that's really important. So yeah. Also, side note on progesterone, boof it. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll give you more resources, but it makes a difference. So yeah, emotionally, my emotions are there, and I get to feel them, and I can run away from them. I can watch TV shows, I can scroll on my phone, I can act out, or I can sit with them. Therapy helps, journaling helps. I have a video coming up on therapy and journaling soon. So to recap, emotionally, crying more, feelings feel bigger, harder to rationalize. And I'd say overall it's great, because I think growing up, I was often taught to not cry, to hide my emotions, to be a man, and I don't have those feelings anymore. Granted, I'm also growing up, so when I cry, no one's there to tell me to stop. And I think it's really healthy. And I think in some ways, little boys in this country are raised to kind of bottle up their emotions. Not all families, of course, but I think it's more common than we might think, and it's something we don't really think about. So I'm glad that's not the case anymore, and if I ever had boys of my own, I definitely wouldn't teach them to bottle up their emotions. Okay, part 3. Physical changes. I'll start with the face. My face has definitely gotten rounder, softer. I also take better care of just like skincare and everything. My hair has definitely gotten longer. Oh yeah, and I should say that like the stuff I was talking about passing has a lot to do with the fat redistribution of the face, which doesn't mean my fat migrated, but new fat like stores in new places. I'll stand to the side a little bit here so you can see how it's changed over the years, over the last couple of years. I had a few earlier ones. But yeah, it's like little by little. There's this one black and white picture here of when I'm really young, and it looks weird. You know, it kind of looks girly even back then. I like having long hair. It was way before estrogen. Anyway, here are the photos with estrogen, and you can see as it changes, little by little, I look more and more like a girl. Okay, moving on. Before I came out, these videos were helpful. This is purely educational. No other agenda here. Okay, so these curves here are new. I want to say it was thanks to boofing progesterone. So if you weren't convinced before, maybe this will convince you. They're a lot more prominent. They take up more space. Definitely eating more would help, and sleeping more. But yeah, I'll just show that there. Definitely wear bras in public, unless it's for this video, I guess. And basically, 3 years in, they've gotten bigger. You can't be topless randomly whenever I want to anymore, obviously. I'll notice if I'm wearing tighter clothing or more revealing clothing. Men will be nicer to me if I'm wearing like loose, baggy clothing. I don't know. You tell me. Things change. Anyway, let's keep going down. So again, I'll put side by side, but this little curve wasn't there before. Thighs have definitely gotten bigger, and yeah, that's definitely changed. When I say fat redistribution, this means that new fat is stored on the thighs and the buttocks, not so much in the midriff. It also is important to note that like eating regularly helps with all this, and sleeping, because you're a teenager, you're going through a second puberty. So I should mention just a couple other things. DNA plays a big role in this, genetics. I'm just introducing estrogen into my system, and then my own DNA is interpreting that and doing what you see in front of you. Second thing is sense, being more passing and just being on the internet and getting fed videos and ads that are around women. I will say more susceptible to advertising telling women to look and dress a certain way, that their waist should be 10 inches smaller than their hips, which is just ridiculous. And it's just something we're aware of. Like, most women don't look like that. Ironically, a lot of runway models look like some trans women, insofar as they are tall and have small chests. Shout out to all the models and beautiful women with smaller chests. They always make me feel good about mine, and it's made me more comfortable with my height. And it's really nice to see more and more trans women who are models, and that's like encouraging and beautiful. The more estrogen like takes its effect on me, the happier I am. I feel really good on shot day and everything, and it's a big deal. I also want to talk about the birthday my friends did. I think it's important to celebrate all those wins, whether it's your coming out as a trans woman day, getting your name legally changed, or shot day. I think we should all have birthday cakes and celebrate. I'm officially 3. Yeah, if you're thinking about starting estrogen, I don't know your circumstances, but if it were me, I would say yes. And the other thing, aside from genetics, progesterone, sleep, and eating, is patience. We're talking years here. I'm on my 3rd year, and it's gonna take many more years. Anyway, if you have any questions or anything, leave them below. If you have any comments, please make them respectful. If they are not respectful, I will block you and I will delete the comments. That's just how I do things. I will try to make another video soon. Thank you so much for watching. And side note, I usually have mango sticky rice to celebrate this. I tried to make it. I failed. I had the wrong things. So that's going to be something for year 4. I'll figure out how to make it by then. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you very soon.